Hey everyone, just want to give you guys an update on some new evidence I recently came across. This new evidence is a shipping route from Astoria, Oregon, the west coast of the U.S., to Yatsushiro, Japan. And we're going to find out here with this cruising speed of this bulk carrier ship vessel that the overall distance it travels during this 10-day time lapse completely destroys the globe model, and the distance is completely impossible on a globe. Now, to start off with, there's a few things, there's like 3 different things I found wrong with this 10-day time lapse video, and I'm going to kind of briefly go over them, and they're right in the very beginning of the video. So I'm going to point those out, and we're also going to briefly go over the traveling speed of these bulk carriers. And I'm also going to go over the distance traveled on both a globe map and a flat map. And we're going to look at the impossible discrepancies that just simply do not work on a globe. Before we get into all that, let's go ahead and get into the beginning of this video, and I'm going to point out a couple of discrepancies and kind of further explain the details on this 10-day time lapse. So this is the video that I wanted to point out. The USA to Japan on a cargo ship, 10-day time lapse. Now there was like 3 different things I want to point out on this video, some discrepancies. First thing wasn't so much a discrepancy. I just want to point out that they're navigating with a bulk carrier and not a container ship. Now, these bulk carriers have a drastically slower cruising speed than a container ship. They only navigate about 13 to 15 knots per hour, which is an average cruising speed of about 17 miles per hour. We're going to get into a little more details on that here shortly, but just want to point that out, that they're navigating with a bulk carrier. And the other thing I want to point out, there was a couple things at the beginning of the video that they kind of didn't have right. Now, they're saying the USA to Japan is approximately 4,000 miles, which we're going to find out here that's not correct, because when we actually take the Great Circle route and the Google Earth distance from Astoria, Oregon, where they're leaving from, to Yatsushiro, Japan, it's actually a little over 5,200 miles. So they're not accounting for about 1,200 miles here. The other thing is the travel time. They're saying is about 10 to 11 days. And obviously it's a 10-day time lapse. And so they're saying that they're claiming that it took them 10 days to get from the west coast of the U.S. to Japan. But we're going to find out that that's actually also not correct. If we look here, from here they're leaving Astoria, which is actually in Oregon and not Washington, but they're leaving there, and that is on the second day. And we can see here the ship leaving on the second day. So, and it's going to say they're leaving from Kalama, Washington to Astoria. Astoria is the west coast. Now, it's not going to show them getting to the ocean until like the 3rd day. So it's kind of up in the air whether they actually started navigating from the west coast to Japan on the 2nd or 3rd day. So here's day 3. But just for the sake of the argument, we're going to say that they left from Astoria on the 2nd day. So it actually, in reality, it took them 8 days to navigate from Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro, Japan. Not 10 days, but 8 days. And we're going to find out that the distance navigated during this time is impossible on a globe. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into more details on these cruising speeds of these bulk carriers. Now we can kind of see the average speed of different types of ships here. With bulk carriers, their average speed is about 13 to 15 knots. Compared to container ships, which are usually traveling about 16 to 24 knots, and then oil tankers are usually around 13 to 17 knots. Now, we're going to be focusing on these bulk carriers.
And again, I want to point out that they are navigating with a 10-day bulk carrier in this video.
So they travel,
as you can see, the 15 hatches for the raw material that they load onto the bulk carrier, and not a container ship. And obviously, we can see that this bulk carrier they're navigating with has a top cruising speed of about 17.26 miles per hour. Whereas a container ship goes about 23 miles per hour, but again, that's not the ship they're using. We're going to focus on this bulk carrier. And again, there was several days of bad weather. So, this 15 knots per hour is not really realistic. And actually, if you follow a lot of these bulk carriers on marine traffic, most of them are traveling 10 to 12 miles per hour. So, they're not even usually going this fast. But we're going to do, just for the sake of the argument, we're going to go with the top fastest cruising speed that this bulk carrier can actually travel, just to further prove to you that the distance it's navigating is impossible on a globe. Now, let's go ahead and look at the distance they're traveling compared to the alleged distance on a globe. We can see from the Great Circle map the route that they're taking here from, right now we're going to just get a general idea. We're going to say from the Portland airport, which is about 97 miles from Astoria, and then to Kumamoto, Japan, which is about 30 miles from Yatsushiro port. So very close. That shortest, straightest, most direct route, Great Circle route, is about 8,615 kilometers, which is about 5,353 miles. So that just kind of shows you generally that it's about a 5,300 mile route is the most direct route from there, not the 4,000 miles that they claim at the beginning of the video. We can say from Yatsushiro port to Astoria, Oregon, which is the west coast of the U.S., that is about 8,516 kilometers, which when we convert that comes out to about 5,291 miles. For traveling from Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro, Japan, again, that is about 5,291 miles navigating. So we're going to take the distance. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the overall miles traveling on both and the speed that they're traveling, flat and 15 knots per hour, which is about 17.26 miles per hour. We're going to take that for a full 24-hour day, which comes out to about 414 miles per day that they're navigating. We can take that over the course of the 8 days that it took them to travel from Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro Port, Japan. And that total distance only comes out to 3,312 miles, which is nearly 2,000 miles less than what the globe allegedly says that distance is supposed to be. So we can see that the distance they're traveling at the fastest cruising speed possible for that bulk carrier still comes out to about 2,000 miles less than what the distance has to be on a globe. So we can see that this route from the west coast of the U.S., Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro, Japan, is nearly 2,000 miles less than what the globe is claiming, which again completely destroys the globe model. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like on a flat map. Now, we can look at this flat AE map from Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro, Japan, and we can see that total distance is 3,312 miles. Now, we can take that 8 days at 15 knots per hour, and again, we come up with the 3,312 miles. Now, obviously, we can see that distance is just a direct, straight, short line, short distance from Astoria, Oregon to Yatsushiro, Japan. And sure enough, it's just a short, straight route from the west coast of the U.S. to Japan. And you can even take the west coast, the farthest west point to the farthest east point of the U.S., which is about 2,800 miles. Add another 500 miles onto that, and you're getting close to the same distance. So again, this makes much more sense, this 3,312 miles, when the U.S. is just right over here next to Japan, rather than the U.S. being on the other side of the globe and Japan being way over here and being 5,291 miles across. So we can obviously see that this makes 100 times more sense on a flat AE map where the distance is much more shorter. So now the lies are becoming far too big for the subterfuge of the cabal, or the powers that be, if you will, to contain. We can see that this is simply only works on a flat model. So again, I just wanted to point out another impossibility on a globe that completely destroys a globe model. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to the Flatworks channel. And if you like the video, please share. And as always, have a great day.